All right. I am so excited to be here today with the beautiful Angela Gentile. She and I have been beautiful friends now for a while. My goodness. Has it been 2 years, 3 years? I think it's been maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years even. But I wanted to share Angela with you guys today because she and I have done some work together on and off over the years. And she's had some pretty big takeaways from a couple of times that we've worked together. But most recently, I'd really like for her to share a little bit about what she's been through and how she's overcome some of her challenges recently as well. So I'm going to open up the floor and ask Angela, the beautiful Angela here. Would you be willing to share with everybody what made you decide to come work with me the first time around and the second time around?
Yeah, what an honor to do this, for sure. So, what made me work with you? I think it wasn't like one specific thing, but I think a series of just like long-winded, suffering events that I was just really sick of my own shit. And I needed help. And I was really forced into this narrative of you're crazy, you're angry, you're ill, like just a lot of negativity that brought out a lot of shame. And when I look at like the events of my life that sort of led me to you, I had back to back to back to back loss, from losing grandparents to my father to my job to my pet, and then a horrible ending of a relationship. So I was just very much like in this like grief cycle and in really engulfed in my own toxic patterns that I was unable to really identify what they were. I just knew something wasn't right. And I was talking to my mentor who was like, I know somebody who can help you. And that's how we got connected. And I was like, yep, this is it. Like, I didn't even know that this coaching space and opportunity existed because I was in therapy, just in that like apologizing, like, let's give you a DSM name. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But in addition, for me, I needed something supplemental that was actually giving me tools and seeing me not as somebody who was broken, but just misguided and hurting and needed a new tool set to kind of get out of through into a clearing, you know? So I think that was the first time that I started working with you. And that was 2018, 2019, something like that. And this go round, we worked together for your abundance course, because as an entrepreneur, this is hard. Like, this is hard. Like, I wouldn't wish this on anybody sometimes, you know? So it's just hard. And I think even when you recognize your patterns and all the work and all the growth that I've made from working with you, like, we still plateau sometimes, and sometimes blind spots that we don't even recognize, and new phases and iterations of ourselves require like new growth and new opportunities and new ways of thinking. So to work with you again was to help me kind of get out of an entrepreneurial rut coming out of COVID, switching all virtually. Like, what am I doing? What, because my original plan for my business was not what it is now. And how do I move forward and pivot with a lot of grace and with abundance, instead of frustration and resentment and resistance of like, well, this isn't how it should be. So deciding to work with you the second time around was a spiritual choice, but more of like a business, like, how do I shift my own personal self for my business, versus the first time, I think, was more of a very personal spiritual journey that I wanted to take.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you just distinguish the difference between that spiritual journey and more of that entrepreneurial journey. When we're dealing with like lack and scarcity and abundance and prosperity stuff as it relates to our business, that is a bit spiritual in and of itself. But the fact that you brought both up is really telling, because I've worked with a lot of clients over the years as entrepreneurs, and originally they're coming to me to help them with their business, to help them be better in their business and eliminate the self-sabotage that's leading them into force, right? What we're talking about, being, instead of being in their power and actually creating their business the way that they want from a place of ease and grace and true power, they're creating it from this place of forcefulness, which kind of is a spiritual thing too. But you came to me for two different reasons, and in both instances you walked away with some pretty significant shifts and how you were looking at things and how you were showing up in the world. And so I would love for you to just share with anyone who might be watching, what are some of your biggest takeaways and the benefits that you've received after the 2 times that you've worked with me?
I mean, it's you changed my life. Like, I don't think I would be this centered and secure and like honest and authentic with myself. Like, I don't know how I would have done that without you.
Right.
And for someone to ask me, Angela, what do you value? What do you believe? What motivates you? How do you love, honor, and respect myself? I don't think I could have done that 3-4 years ago. I'd have been like, what do you mean? I value my job. I value my friends. Like, not like everything was like outside of myself. Like, I was always chasing, running, controlling, pissed off, overgiving, resentful, blah, 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 a whole thing. And it wasn't until I started working with you where I was able to shift my focus and be like, baby girl, this is about you. Like, you're the common denominator in a lot of this and everything in your life. And like, what is happening is that you don't have a connection with yourself. And I didn't. I just turned 40 this year. And I think this is the most beautiful place I've ever been in, of literally not giving a shit about anything. But also, like, I wouldn't have been able to even get to that and stand on that hill unbothered, unfazed, without having those deep dive conversations into like my own struggles and my own suffering, and like, what was that about and how did I get there?
Yeah.
And how did I course correct so that I can stay rooted, grounded like an oak tree, so that no matter the storm outside myself, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I think that was the foundation. Like, I really, I know you helped me build a foundation within myself to help me be rock solid, secure, confident.
Yeah.
And not to say that like life hasn't tossed some curveballs and challenged me.
Always.
Yeah. And like knocked me down, but I'll never go back to that. It's just not possible to go back to that woman who was crying and like begging to be seen and loved and like putting up with treatment and settling for like scraps and crumbs. That's just not possible anymore because of the foundation and connection that I've had. So even when I got knocked down, I don't stay in that place. It doesn't destroy me.
Right.
It's frustrating, but the course correcting is a lot faster.
Awesome. That's huge, right? Totally. To be able to like get knocked down with your face in the dirt, sort of like that hero in the arena, as Brene Brown talks about, and to be able to get back up, even though you got dirt all over, just be like, all right, let's keep going. I think that's one of the hardest things that we can learn in our life. And the fact that you illustrated that so beautifully in what you shared about, what our work has done for you. And I'm curious, what effect has that had on your business? What are you doing now in your business that couldn't have happened if you hadn't done this work?
Oh God. I mean, like, my self-worth isn't based in the success of my business. Number one, I'm awesome and worthy, whether this thing tanks or when it actually becomes this multi-million-dollar fitness empire, which it is. It's happening.
It's already happening,
yeah. So I think being able to take these setbacks as just like, little shots here and there that you just kind of have to swerve, and not like personal attacks on like my abilities and my capabilities, because I think COVID was the ultimate pivot and was the ultimate swerve. Everything shut down, life as we know it, especially in a fitness industry that I'm in. Like, what? If you asked me in March 11th of 2020, if you're like, Angela, you're going to have a virtual fitness studio, I'm like, no, I'm not. That's stupid. That's not what. March 13th, I sure as shit had a virtual fitness studio that I created. So I think it's just given me the confidence and space beyond like what I was like seeing and comparing myself to, just like, well, it's a possibility and it feels right and I feel connected to it and it checks a lot of what I need for it to make me feel good and honor myself. So I'm going to run with it.
Right.
I've been able to switch an entire like fitness brand online, which I thoroughly love, to be honest. From a business standpoint, it's pretty dope because my overhead is Zoom.
Yeah.
And then any marketing and things that I do and ads that I do beyond that. But I'm not renting studio space. I'm, not schlepping and gas and parking around the city to try and do that. So it's definitely that pivot, and that opportunity has allowed me even like more reprieve within myself to just chill. I'm not getting up at 5 a.m. anymore and working in 9 p.m. at night.
Yeah.
Like I've kind of curate a schedule with that works for me, and a business that is thriving in the pandemic too.
Right.
So
yeah, that's fabulous. And I love what you're talking about, because, when you were talking about earlier being that oak tree that, could like deflect what's coming your way with a lot more ease and grace than the old you, right? That old broken down part of you that was suffering so much.
Every time taken down.
If you hadn't done that spiritual growth, that deep inner work early on, when it came time to pivot in COVID, I don't know that I'm wondering if you would have seen the gift in that and been able to pivot as quickly. Do you think that it would have been as easy?
I don't know. Right. Like it's hard to imagine what that would have been like.
Yeah.
It's like you can't unsee it,
Right.
like
exactly.
So I don't know. I mean, going off my track record of every time that like life was happening, it was like being done to me versus for me and through me.
That's what you just said. Yeah. The for you. I love that. That's kind of what I was getting at, is like you took that as an opportunity rather than an obstacle.
Yeah.
And as a result, you're working smarter now rather than hard. And I know that you've done a lot of hard work, and I get that that still happens, as a solopreneur, that happens, but you have freed up so much of that time and energy that you were spending before. You've opened up a void, so to speak, of all that time and energy you were putting out before. So now you can actually do way more creative and business development and really build this, like, as you talked about it, this fitness empire, which, by the way, you guys, she's got this amazing online community where you can do fitness classes with her online, and a whole like line of clothing and everything. She's got some really cool things happening in this industry that I wonder if would have been possible if you hadn't started to look for the gift and everything that would come your way, so that you could see the opportunities rather than the obstacles that would come your way.
I think the brand evolved. I think the brand evolved as I evolved. So
Absolutely.
I could have gone as deep as I had gone.
Yeah.
As I've allowed more opening and less resistance in my life, I think that just created more space for my brand to grow too. So there is a spiritual component. So we're not just like tossing around kettlebells, we're moving with intention. There's meditation, healing. It's about how do we move through what we need to move through so that we can stay connected and aligned and sort of shed the heaviness expectations that, we come to a fitness class with, So I think it would have just been very limited had I not gone through this experience. Like, my relationships would have been limited. My friendships would have been limited. And as I kind of continue to grow and pivot and become a little like even more connected with myself, so much of what was isn't here anymore. Like, you just can't meet me where I am, Friends are gone, relationships are gone.
You've cleared the clutter.
Yes, absolutely.
You've cleared a lot of clutter. And I know that just recently, as a result of doing that, you've actually manifested some pretty amazing opportunities and some abundance that's come your way as a result of clearing the clutter too. So that's exciting. You're seeing all the laws of the universe in action through the work that you've been doing, both in your personal and your professional realm. And it's been so much fun to work with you. So I'm curious if there's any last bits of anything else you want to share, or last bits of wisdom for anyone who might be watching this.
Is this going to be in your Facebook group?
Yeah, if that's okay.
Awesome. No, because I think, a lot of people like the intrigue and they like to stay on the peripheral of a Facebook group until they find that one thing that they're like, oh, this is when I'm going to not just dip my toe in, but I might just like dive headfirst. Let me be a testament that when you choose to do something different and truly believe that the vision that you want for yourself is possible and that you matter enough to do it. And even if you say it and you still don't quite believe it, taking this chance on yourself it was the best thing that I ever did. It was the hardest thing that I've done. Unpacking a lot of pain and decades of my life, but it was the best gift that I ever gave myself, was to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
To say I needed help.
Right.
To be vulnerable enough and trusting a perfect stranger that I didn't know and never met at the time to guide me. But there is value in taking that risk. So if you're on the fence, I understand that it's scary. I get it. But it's so incredibly worth it on the other side. So,
it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. It's been such a pleasure working with you. And I can attest, if I had somebody like myself helping me through my own little midlife crisis and meltdown that I had in my early 30s, I think that things would have been a lot easier to go through that and have that support. And you had the courage to invest in yourself at a time when it didn't necessarily make sense in most people's eyes to do that. But you did it. And because of that, what she was talking about, when you make the decision to invest in yourself, especially when it's outside of your comfort zone, you guys, this is where the real magic happens. This is where you go all in and you make the decision to get as much as you possibly can out of it. And that's where the real growth happens and the real transformation. And I will say that the person that walked in the door, so to speak, because we did everything remotely back then, but the person that I was on the very first session with is a very different person today. You've grown and evolved so much, and you should be so incredibly proud of the work that you've done, because you've come a long way, baby.
Yeah, I like this person.
Yeah,
here.
you've come a long way, and you're beautiful. You were beautiful then, but you are magnificent now, and it's because of the work you've done. So thank you for saying yes to you.
You, girl, that's what it is. Couldn't have got here without you. So.
Well, you did all the hard work. You did the heavy lifting. I just pointed in the right direction a couple of times. So
I walked the door and I was like, I don't want to. And you're like,
come on. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience and also your wisdom today with everybody that's watching. I appreciate you so much. And if you are watching this and you want to learn more about what, having your own self-rescue might look like, visit my website, which is jessvanassa.com/toolkit. You can sign up for a toolkit there and learn how to master the art of self-rescue along with the 3 keys to self-rescue there. If you have any questions, though, feel free to post those. If you're watching this here in the group, you can post them in the comments below. If you're watching this on my website, you can shoot me an email or call me, whatever, and I will reach out and connect with you. I'm happy to have a meeting with you if necessary. I also offer a discovery consult too. So that's it for today. Thanks so much, Angela.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye.